Alright, what you see here is a Relite industrial ceiling fan. I got this out of a gym last year with Nathan, better known on YouTube as Epsilon 120. There are four of these. This is the fourth one out of four of Relites that I got, along with a TPI industrial and a Marley industrial. I paid $60 for all six fans, so they were literally $10 each, which is honestly a steal considering how little places tend to sell used industrial fans. Usually they just scrap them. And usually when they are for sale, they usually are not extremely overpriced, but usually they're asking for a decent amount. Now, obviously I went more so for the Relites because I remember seeing all white ones as a kid at the Fenway Park gift shop in Boston, where the Boston Red Sox plays. This is back in the year 2004. I remember seeing, I think, 2 or 3 of them. I think it was only 2, if I'm not mistaken. It could have been 3 or 4. It's been so long, but I remember there was at least 2 of them. They were all white, and I always wondered if they were painted or not. And then when I found these, I realized that they were from factory. Now this one, as you can tell, is in the worst shape out of 4 of them. These came out of a place called Sterling Gym in Sterling, Mass. I think I already said that, but the reason why they got replaced is because they put up those huge industrials that a lot of places have been using nowadays, which in a space that it's in, that's understandable. I'm pretty sure I've actually, I know like on the Facebook group of that place, you can actually see the fans in the backgrounds in some of their older photos from before they were removed. They were only removed about a year ago, so it's not that far back. They removed them during the lockdown as the lockdown was starting to get lifted and restrictions were starting to be lifted and such. But yeah, this one, as you can see, has yellowed canopies, which is a common trait with these fans. Out of the 4 of them, there's the only one that has yellowed canopies. The other ones, canopies are still minty. I'm wondering what is it that caused this one to get a lot more beat up in terms of the canopies. The blades, I'm not sure if they go with this one, but since the fan's already a little bit worn out looking, and the other 3 are in a lot better shape due to the canopies being in a better shape, I figured maybe just put the more bent blades on this one. Which, if I'm not mistaken, I could have sworn these blades actually came off of this one and such, so I figured might as well just put them back on this one. I do remember that there was one Relite that had pretty bent blades, so I was pretty sure it was this one. Now this one has a caution sticker on the bottom canopy, and I honestly don't know what is it that they caused them to cut that, whether they did it or they were removing it, or if it was wobbling a lot so they just cut it so it wouldn't scrape against something. I'm not sure. Interestingly enough, out of the 4 Relites, the wires on this one were actually snipped. So that's why you see the wire that's a lot closer to it compared to the other 2. No, not the other 2, the other 3. Sorry, I'm just pretty tired right now. But I actually figured out what year these are from. There's a capacitor there that actually has a date on it. That says October of 1988. Now I do know that they still sold the Airmaster labeled ones around this time as well. So what I'm guessing is that these things are more so exclusive to certain stores back in the day. I'm just gonna work the screw on this one's a lot looser than the other one, so it's easier to lift it without damaging it. But yep, as you can see, it says October of 1988. I did check the other 3 to check if it was the same thing, and they all had the same exact date code. I just wish I had realized that before filming all the other 3, and I would have showed it. And this one actually has the same serial code as the first one I tested, from what I can recall. Now, that doesn't mean that they are actually from 1988, but that's as far back as I'm guessing these are from. I have heard that these were the ones that they were selling before they stopped making Relites altogether. So what it could be is that The capacitor is from 1988, but the fan actually could be from a little bit later on. Just an older part that they never used and such. Something that some fan companies would do back in the day, if they had like some remaining parts that were never used from like a year or two ago, they would just put them onto the new fan that they were selling. Or the one that they were making and such. But yeah, these blades definitely had gotten hit by something. They definitely have dents in them. Whereas the other ones don't have dents into the blades, like they're bent, but you can actually like see like where they were hit by something. I feel like this fan specifically must have got hit quite a bit by something. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was above an area where there was like some inflatable like bouncing houses that were closer, so like whatever there was in it, it can get hit easier. But the fan itself runs fine. It was a little bit noisy, the bearings, but I oiled it and now it's basically silent. So yeah, let me go ahead and start off on the low speed. Oh, this is one I definitely would consider like installing in a garage or something, or in a shop area, due to the fact that it's already pretty worn out and such in terms of like appearance. So I wouldn't really worry about this one getting more beat up than it already is. The other three, however, I probably wouldn't do that with them. I mean, the only thing it's more so the motor that's really the valuable part on this being all white. The canopies, you can always just find canopies from another one and just paint those white, and they won't really look any different. But having the plasticky looking motor be all white from factory, that's kind of hard to make it look factory and such. Now this one I definitely need to get a different canopy for the top, but I honestly don't mind it looking like that. It just looks a bit strange. I kind of prefer if it was just if it didn't have that remaining portion of the upper canopy left, but honestly, for them to do that, they'd have to take out the full fan down from the high ceiling that it was installed on, take off the down rod, slide up, and then slide off the canopies, and then just take that off. So I'm not sure if it was like that installed or not, but they might have just cut it just to. I'm guessing it was wobbling a bit or something. I'm not sure. But no, now that I'm thinking about it, remembering back when we were taking off the blades, me and Nathan, I remember that this was the one that had the worst blades out of all 4 of the Relites. No, it definitely runs a lot smoother now. So I take back what I said in the other videos of this one being the one that has the worst bearings. Now that it's been oiled, it definitely is in a lot better shape. So I definitely can say that the third one has the worst bearings due to the fact that it's more noisy. But yeah, honestly, like I definitely would just snag canopies off of one that's like really rough or something and just paint them and put them on this one just to make it more presentable. I mean, the bottom one just is still useful. It's just I know some parts of it are kind of deteriorating and such. This one might have been closer to a white, so maybe that could be why the canopies are actually yellowed on this one and not the other 3. I can't recall if I actually saw an actual picture of it in those photos of the fans installed in the space of this exact one. I know I've seen one of the TPI and the Marley, but this exact one, I don't know if I actually saw in the photos. I know I saw the other 3 from different angles, but I don't know if I remember seeing this one with the canopy like that. Unless the canopy wasn't cut, but the other thing is the canopies on this one are yellow, so I feel like I would have noticed that at least. But no, it definitely runs well. It's just more beat up cosmetically out of the other 3. Alright. Alright, now for medium. This one seems to make more of like a startup-ish style of sorts, whereas the other three don't. It's kind of unique with this one. Just looking at the canopy like that, it looks like something you see like in a place where they had a drop ceiling and they just cut it just so they can fit it above the tile. Honestly, it reminds me of that date in Wasco at that old flower place that's now vacant as of this time I'm filming this video. Still waiting to hear back when they're getting removed so I can get them. The owner said it should be happening within the next few months. But yeah. Definitely has a decent medium speed on this one. Alright, now for medium high. I was honestly thinking it was going to wobble a lot more than this, just because of how bent the blades are, but they are pretty aligned, thankfully. And I'm glad it's not wobbling, because with the canopy being broken like that, I'd be more afraid of it falling down and such if it was to wobble. Honestly, it wouldn't, but it's just like it would get me anxious and such. But no, this is definitely something I'd use as like a beater fan or a shop fan if I was to use any of the four of them for that purpose. I mean, I don't know actually, like it's more so the blades and the canopies that need touching up, but the motor on this one's in really good shape. I think it's more so the blades I'd probably use for like a beater one and such. I mean, I definitely want to be bad for a shop fan and such. Oh yeah, it looks like the blades are honestly in perfect alignment, but even though they're bent. But yeah, I'm guessing is that I know that from what I've heard that these were made to be sold in Venezuela and such. These also could have just been sold in the United States for like specific stores. Like I know, like for an example, like with Hunter, they had some models exclusive to like Builder Square and such, or Target or Walmart. So this could have been a case of these ones where they were in this finish under the Relite name, they were sold for like exclusive stores, like maybe a certain chain, but like very few of them were spread out throughout the nation. So maybe that's probably why these are so rare in the white finish, not the aqua greenish one with the tan yellow vanilla looking canopies. Yeah, let's go ahead and move it up to the high speed. Oh, there's that sound I was thinking of. There's the sound I was talking about. How I make a startup sound. Let me shut it off and turn it back on just so I can capture it on video. Oh, that's pretty cool, honestly. The other three don't do it. I'm surprised that just one of them doesn't. Interesting. It looks like this one seems to be going faster than the other three now. I mean, this one did get oil too. I mean, honestly, the spin out would determine if it has the best bearings now out of the 4 of them. I know the second one has the longest spin down, with that one being about 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Despite the first one being in the best shape cosmetically, the second one, so far from what I can tell, has the best bearings. The third one definitely has the worst one, but it's also in cosmetically better condition than this one. And this one's in the worst shape cosmetically out of the 4 of them. It's not really in bad shape, but it's just compared to the other 4, it's not in the best. It's just not as in pristine condition like the other 3 are. You know, it definitely moves a good amount of air. I mean, when these things are actually running well, they actually aren't bad air movers at all. Just they're very flimsy fans. That's really the issue. Now for spin down. Yeah, these things honestly, like, I tested the Airmaster one, and I was impressed with the air movement. But seeing how fast these ones go and how much more air they move compared to that one, I'm really impressed with how much air they move. Makes sense, because they really are good air movers, just they're really poorly made fans. That's why I describe it as like these are like the Proline 2s of the 80s and such. Although they had the Prolines back then, they weren't flimsy like these things are. Proline 2s, I wouldn't really say they're flimsy, but they also are flimsy at the same time. So, but it's not as nearly as flimsy as this is and such. I mean, I know the Proline 2s were pretty cheap. In a lot of places, like at Menards, from what I've heard, they were like $30 back in the day. I know these, from what I've heard, these were like pretty cheap back in the day too. I'm guessing like the Proline 1 was like more of a pricier one, I guess, compared to the Proline 2. These are really cheaper industrials you always see everywhere. That's just something, like, compared to like even from back then and nowadays, like with the Hampton Bay one or the Sofa line or the Airmaster Mark 1s or Can Arms. These are the cheaper industrials you always see. So with these being the ones that you'd see a lot, and same thing with like ring fans, they were pretty common. They were really pretty cheap, and they were common at the time since they weren't sold for that long. So that's what makes them a lot harder to find. And with them failing a lot, that makes them harder to find too. I know like industrial fans back then were a lot cheaper than they are nowadays and such. But you know, it definitely has a decent spin down. It's definitely longer than the third one. I'm not sure if it's longer than the first one, but I definitely don't think it's longer than the second one. But yeah, and that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more videos to come.